There's an angle of climate change that's never discussed by the Democrats or the mainstream media. Bernie Sanders threatens to ban all fossil fuels if he's elected president, and he talks about the impact that will have on the planet. But what about the impact on you and your family and your daily life? Tonight, I want to talk about what happens to you if Bernie Sanders bans fossil fuels. Number one, your energy costs will skyrocket, which means your utility bills will skyrocket. Obviously, this isn't great for anybody, but it particularly hurts low-income people because a lot of people can't afford to pay higher utility bills. Number two, you'll probably also face rationing, which means limits on how much energy you can use before you're cut off. Because Bernie Sanders doesn't want to ban only fossil fuels, he wants to ban nuclear power too. So we'd be relying only on wind and solar power. What happens if it's not sunny or windy? Well, we'd have an energy shortage. Who gets the power during shortages? And who's denied? You better ask Bernie Sanders because it's going to be you. Number three, this is not to say that electric cars are bad. Of course they're not. Innovation is astounding. But if Bernie Sanders bans fossil fuels, which will ban gas-powered cars, we'd all be forced to drive electric vehicles. And what about the batteries that power electric cars? Electric car batteries require cobalt, among other rare earth minerals. Where do we get cobalt? From Africa, from mines that abuse children, forcing child slaves to mine these metals so that Bernie Sanders can virtue signal. Number four, if Bernie Sanders bans fossil fuels, 14 million Americans would lose their jobs. This according to a study from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. In Pennsylvania specifically, which produces 10% of the natural gas used in the United States every day, 600,000 people would lose their jobs by 2025. Number five, if Bernie bans fossil fuels, we'd also be reliant on foreign energy from Iran, from Russia, and other countries that don't have the environmental standards that we do. Not to mention that it's dangerous to our national security to rely on adversaries, which is dangerous for you personally. Number six, if Bernie bans fossil fuels, you won't be able to travel the world. You won't be able to go home or visit your family because you won't be allowed to fly in an airplane because jet fuel is fossil fuel. And we have no technology currently to power planes with anything else. Number seven, plastics and medication are made from petrochemicals, which are derived from fossil fuels. If Bernie bans fossil fuels, you won't have life-saving medication or medical instruments for surgery. Number eight, fertilizers and pesticides are also made from petrochemicals, and banning fertilizer and pesticides would significantly reduce crop production, which could lead to food shortages and even mass starvation. Number nine, if Bernie bans fossil fuels, our economy will tank. And you can look at Venezuela, for example, to see what happens to people when prosperous nations suffer economic collapse. Widespread starvation, inflation, skyrocketing unemployment rates, scarcity of medical care and medication, power outages, all, of course, which hurt you. And all of this could happen to you if Bernie Sanders bans fossil fuels. And that's my final point.